Hello, 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 folks. It's time for Liftoff 10. Countdown with me. Come on, amigos. I need all your energy today. I know what day it is. I know.
Ignition.
Don't think about it.
Liftoff.
Focus on the positive. Look on the bright side. We're going to have a blast today. Speaking of, let's blast off. Come on.
Get ready.
There we go.
Hold on to your hat. Strap on your seatbelt. Fasten your seatbelts. Hold on to your hat. Get ready
For the ride of your life.
The show with no name time.
On Vaughn Radio.
It's a show with no name.
Let's go. Welcome, amigos. Welcome. Come on in, everybody. Don't worry, I'll wait for you. Well, not too long. All right. Welcome back, folks. I hope you enjoyed your days off. But we are back. We are back with another exciting show. I know that you guys warmed up really nicely with my buddy Fitz. Well, he's a hard act to follow. No es fácil seguirle a Fitz. He's a master. There's a reason he trains every single teacher that's ever come through Vaughn. If you guys want more information about how you can get Fitz as a teacher or any other amazing Vaughn teacher, go to our website. It's grupovaughn.com. You can go to our bookshop if you want materials. That's vaughntienda.com. The phone number, 911-385831. And make sure you follow us on social media. And this way you know about everything that's going on in the Vaughn world, such as our upcoming trivia night hosted by my buddy, Kyle Miller.
It's time for the return of our Vaughn Radio Trivia Nights. Join us to practice your English, test your knowledge, and have a great time on Wednesday, October 4th at 8:30 p.m. at Roll Madrid, Calle Amañel 23. Each month, we host our Vaughn Radio Trivia Nights where attendees are put into teams and answer fun trivia questions in English. Join us for the fun at Roll Madrid on Wednesday, October 4th at 8:30 p.m. That's Roll Madrid, Calle Amañel 23. This time, it's hosted by me, Kyle Miller. Everyone's welcome, so we'll see you there.
That's right, folks. It's Vaughn Radio Trivia Night hosted by my good friend Kyle Miller. And that's this week. I'm going to be there. I know a lot of our super show with no-namers are going to be there. And by the way, guys, excellent job on the question of the week last Friday. Wow. And I guess that's the perfect segue to take a look at this coming week's question of the week. Question of the week. That's right, amigos. Question of the week here on the show with no name. This is where you get a choice, a chance, whatever. Well, a choice es una elección. Of course, it's your choice. You also get a chance, la oportunidad, to voice your opinion in English. And I try to make the questions thought-provoking. Like last week, we looked at the things we regret the most in life. I told you I regretted goofing off, right? Loafing around, as we said, when I was in New York. Yeah, I had a blast. And yeah, I wouldn't change it because that's that and it made me who I am. But if I could go back, I would be a little more serious, a little more organized. But you can't go back. You got to work with the cards you've got, the hand you've been dealt, as we say. So this week's question of the week: what would you do if you never had to work again? That's right. Let's just say, hypothetically, you won the lottery. Or you came into money. You inherited a bunch of money and you're like, whoa, I'm set for life. Man, I never have to work another day in my life. I never have to clock in, fichar, put up with a cranky boss. Thankfully, that's not my case. So think about it. And think about it. Again, I'm still thinking about it. I haven't come up with my answer yet. Well, you have until Thursday evening to figure out what you want to say. You can practice it. Why not? Practice. Practice until you feel like you got it. And the question is, what would you do if you never had to work again? And I don't mean I would go to Disney World. Okay, after that. I don't mean like the initial thing. I mean like, what would you do every day? ¿A qué te dedicarías? That do. And it doesn't have to be a job. It can be a hobby. What would you do every day if you never had to work again? This week's question of the week, you guys can send it on over to my email at Vaughn. It's aalonso@grupovaughn.com. aalonso@grupovaughn.com. Keep it at around a minute, and this way we can get everybody to participate. All right. Question of the week on the show with no name. But you know what time it is now, amigos? Right now, it's time for your pop quiz. Pop quiz. Come on. Pop quiz. Pop quiz. Pop quiz. Pop quiz. Yeah. Let's go. Pop quiz. Pop quiz. Pop quiz. Pop quiz. Yeah, folks, today's pop quiz coming out of the focused translation lists. That's right, folks, our focused translation list. You can get them over at the Vaughn Tienda. Now, we've got a lot of translation lists which go by level, but then we've got other ones. Well, technically, these go by level too, because if you notice any of our translation lists, the first sentences are always easier than the last ones on the list. Okay, so that's a general rule. But then these focused ones, they focus on specific things. So such as the affirmative, the negative, and the interrogative. We've looked at that a lot here. Modal verbs, that's must, shall, have to, shouldn't, right? These are these modal verbs. We've got the verb to get, which is probably one of the most useful verbs in the English language. It is a wild card, vale pato, as you say. We've got comparatives and superlatives. There plus to be, el verbo haber, okay? So take a look, as with all our materials at the Von Tienda, you will learn from them. There's a method to everything we do here, the Von method, and also they come with audio, which is absolutely awesome because in the end, you've got a parrot. No he dicho que tienes un loro. Tienes que hacer como un loro. Yes, to parrot is a verb. That's right. The noun parrot has been verbified. My favorite Spanish expression with parrot is estate al loro. Pay attention. All right, folks, you got to be on the ball, on your toes, al loro, prestando atención, espabilados. Let's warm up a little bit, as we always do. And then I'm going to give you 3 translations, and you guys can put them here in the group. Now, if for any reason you can't participate in real time, I beg to differ. Te llevo la contraria. Why can't you participate? Grab a pen, grab a notebook, and do the different challenges. I can't make it easier than that. You know? We love to have you here with us, but we'll have to make do. All right, let me explain. We're going to look at make and do. Hoy vamos a mirar el verbo hacer, que en inglés es make or do. But I just used both of them together. I said, if you can't make it to a class, well, we'll have to make do without you. ¿En serio? ¿Las dos? Yeah, es apañarse, arreglárselas. Okay, we'd love to have you here live, but if you can't be here with us live, we'll make do. All right, let's take a look at these translations. Remember, they're all available at the Von Tienda. You don't have to give me the first ones in the group. I prefer if you say them aloud, if you know them. And we're going to start really simple. Remember, the lists start simple and they get more complicated. Kind of like life, huh? All right, here we go. Haz algo. Haz algo. Now, this depends. Si te estoy diciendo haz algo de comer, I'm saying make something. But if I'm telling you haz algo because of inaction, que no has hecho nada en todo el día, then it's different. I'm saying do something. Man, you got to do something. Because if I'm telling you to make something, it means to cook it. Or it can mean to like make it, like an art project. Now, that's a general rule. Do is duties, things like that, deberes, things we carry out, llevar a cabo. But there are too many exceptions. So the way I tell my students to do it is just learn it the way it sounds. Recognize that cuando digo esto, suena mejor el do o el make. So do something, and I'll make something for dinner. All right. Hazme una oferta is the next one. Do me an offer. Does that sound right? Do me an offer. No, I'm just kidding. It's make me an offer. Haven't you seen The Godfather? I'm going to make you an offer. You can't refuse. All right. What about the job? Haz el trabajo. Or your work. And what's the difference? Well, job is more like a tarea individual, and work encompasses, engloba todo. So I would say, do the job or do your work. See, just important to know the difference, the nuances. The next one, haz lo que quieras. I say it to my daughter a lot. Well, sometimes you get sick of negotiating. She loves to negotiate everything. Do whatever you want. Haz lo que quieras. All right. Hazme una promesa. Do me a promise? Yeah. No. Did that sound right to you? I'm just making sure. It's make me a promise. Make me a promise. All right, the next one. Esta la usamos mucho. Hazme un favor. Hazme un favor. Do me a favor. do me a favor. All right. Now it's your turn. The first one. Hago negocios con ellos. Hago negocios con ellos. Okay? That's number one. Give me all three of them together. And the reason I chose that one is because you don't know how many times I've heard students use the wrong one. The good news about make and do, your chances, the odds, la probabilidad, 50-50, baby. 50-50. Okay. So, hago negocios con ellos. The next one. Are you ready? The next one is, tienes que causar una buena impresión. Tienes que causar una buena impresión is our second one. Remember, these will either have make or do in them. Okay? And the last one, no te burles de mí. No te burles de mí. These all have make and do in them. And make and do are both irregular verbs. I'm sure you know that, but just in case, make, made, made. The next one, do, did, done. Bueno, es que hay que saberlos. Son verbos que se usa siempre. All right. We've got a lot of people participating here in our group. Let's get a nice round of applause for all our amigos who are participating today and every day. And I want a second round of applause for all of you who participate, but you can't do it in real time. We love you too. Yes, we do. All right. The first one. Hago negocios con ellos. I do business with them. I do business with them is the correct answer. Now, you don't know how many times, como decimos en inglés, if I had a nickel, 5 céntimos, for every time I've heard a student say make business, I would be rolling in it. Forrado. I would be a wealthy man. I don't know why. People think of it, at least in Spain, as make business, but it's to do business. To do business. So I do business with them. And you know what we always do when we have some translations? That's an affirmation. Let's make it negative. I don't do business with them. The question, do you do business with them? Do you know, la indirecta, do you know if he does business with them? Y así no solo controlas el infinitivo to do business, but you're playing with it. You're making sure you know it in all its different incarnations. Okay, next one. Are you ready? Tienes que causar una buena impresión. Now, I know what you're thinking. You have to cause. No es lo mismo que cometer errores. We don't say you committed a lot of mistakes. We say you made a lot of mistakes. So again, that's a false friend there. That can be a little bit confusing. All right. You have to make a good impression. You have to make a good impression. La negativa. You don't have to make a good impression. They're not going to judge you. You don't have to make a good impression. Y fíjate, have to is have to. You don't have to make a good impression. Do we have to make a good impression? Pregunta. Pregunta indirecta. Do you know if we have to make a good impression? And be very careful, because if you change it to do an impression, it's to imitate. We were talking about parroting before. So, he did an impression of his father. Imitó a su padre. He did an impression of his father. Pon ejemplos tú. Or you can get these at the Von Tienda. And he made a good impression on his English teacher. Very, very different meanings by changing that make or do. And the last one. The last one is no te burles de mí. No te burles de mí. Now you can say don't mock me. You can say don't tease me. But we're looking for make or do, right? All right. The third one is don't make fun of me. Don't make fun of me. No te burles de mí. No te ríes de mí. Don't make fun of. Okay? Just be careful you get the whole structure. I've heard people make mistakes, right? He made fun with me. No. It's to make fun of someone, to tease them, right? Nobody likes to be made fun of. Have you ever made fun of somebody? ¿Ves cómo lo practicas? Poniéndolo en contexto, en pregunta, right? That's what I'm trying to say. Get it off the page. If you can get that translation off the page, so it's not just text, and you can get it into your brain and out your mouth and then play with it, you, my friends, are on your way to mastering the language. Dominando el idioma. Mastering the language. All right. Excellent job, amigos. Wonderful job in our pop quiz. But right now, we've got to move on because, as you know, we've always got a lot to do. But we're going to do things a little bit out of order today. We're going to go with our homophones on the show with no name.
Homophones on the show with no name. It's homophones time, cause homophones rhyme. They sound the same on the show with no name. The show with no name. Homophones on the show with no name. Cause homophones time, it's homophones rhyme. They sound the same on the show with no name. The show with no name. The show with no name. The show with no name.
That's right, amigos. It's homophones only on the show with no name. And here's where we look at words that tend to be a little bit tricky. But we'll see if you guys don't get thrown off, desconcertados. If you don't get thrown off by these words that, as I said, let's put it this way. If the words are in the homophone section, it means that I've seen students have difficulty or have trouble. You can say it's probably easier to have trouble, to have difficulty. So I've seen a lot of students have trouble with this over here. The same thing with make and do. I mean, why do you think, as I said, there's a method to our madness? Why do you think Richard Vaughn and all the people who create content over at Vaughn have chosen these structures to look at? El machi, el many. Because it's where we know that, well, people are going to need clarification. People are going to need to practice it and go over it. And I can't urge you enough, instar, when possible. I know sometimes you're listening from work and you can't do it, whatever. But whenever possible, for your own good, right? Repeat the vocabulary, the expressions, whatever it may be, especially the homophones, repeat them aloud because it's the only way you're going to make sure you're saying them right. Proximity to hearing it. You know, if I tell you something in Japanese right now, I say, Hakatuki makachaka. Now, if you say it right after me, the chances of you remembering it are really high. If you wait 2 minutes, you're going to be like, what was it? Mukuhuku chakalaka? And I was like, no, it was makahuki chakalaka. Right? So again, that's why I say the moment you hear something that you're like, that sounds strange, repeat it. That's a perfect opportunity. All right. The first word is to walk around aimlessly with no purpose. You say deambular. To walk around aimlessly with no specific purpose is our first word. And the second word is to ask yourself. Preguntarse. There you go, folks. Two very common words We'll see if you're A, familiar with them, and B, if you know if they sound exactly the same or not. And we'll check that after this quick commercial break. Amigos, we'll be right back with part 2 of today's show with no name. So, stick around. Yeah. Hey, amigos, welcome back. Welcome back to the show with no name on Vaughn Radio. Welcome back, my amigos. This is the show with no name. And every morning, that's right, every morning before this show, you can listen to my buddy Rob Grams and the Pro Bow Show. You've got Richard Vaughn Live. You've got Fitz and his program, No Excuses. Then you got this wacky guy, this batty guy, a word we looked at last week, named Alberto Alonso, and his nutty show, the show with no name. After that, we get a little order, not too much, but a little bit of order with our friend Ximena Holiday and Test Your English. Followed by the lunchtime show with Rob and Andy. After that, Tosh Pasqua, Back to Basics. The Salad with Dave Boyce. And you can wrap up your day with Kyle Miller's Drive Time. And don't forget, Kyle's hosting a trivia night this week, folks. It's at Roll Madrid, and we look forward to hearing from and hopefully seeing all of you in person. And folks, it's time to move on to our next section, the Say What Soundbite. Say what? What? That's right, amigos. It's today's Say What Soundbite, where you're going to hear a plethora of different accents, cadences. I mean, you're going to hear the gamut. The gamut, el rango completo. From people from New Zealand, people from the South of the United States of America, people from England who are very posh, other people from England who don't really, well, they're not really posh. You know, you get a little bit of everything. And then you get Scottish. A little bit of everything here on our Say What Soundbites. Let's see what we have in store for you today, amigos. You're going to hear this soundbite 4 times. You'll get 4 chances to write down every single word you hear. But at first, I just want you to tell me what you heard. But don't take any shortcuts. I want you to use your best English. All right? I mean, I want your A game, as we say. To bring your A game es estar listo para jugar en primera. And I know all of you bring your A game every day. All right, so without any further ado, sin más, I think we need to listen to our Say What soundbite for the first time. Grab a pen and jot down what you hear.
Well, that covers a lot of ground. Say, you cover a lot of ground yourself. You better beat it. I hear they're going to tear you down and put up an office building where you're standing. You know, you haven't stopped talking since I came here. You must have been vaccinated with the phonograph needle. How do you like that? I haven't been on the job 5 minutes, and already she's making advances to me.
Whoa! That person sounds like a bat out of hell. Que va a 1000 por hora, ¿no? Como diablo. Whoa! I'm pretty sure it's going to take 3 or 4 listens to get it at least today, if you get it. This isn't on the easy side. Let's put it this way. We've had some that are a piece of cake, right? And we've had some that are just, man, I don't want to say impossible because I hate that word, but tough, really tough. And I think today's is not really tough, but it's tough. But I think you guys will be able to figure it out. So let me give it to you a second time, and then we can discuss it. We also have to look at our homophones as well. Don't think I've forgotten. Here we go.
Well, that covers a lot of ground. Say, you cover a lot of ground yourself. You better beat it. I hear they're going to tear you down and put up an office building where you're standing. You know, you haven't stopped talking since I came here. You must have been vaccinated with a phonograph needle. How do you like that? I haven't been on the job 5 minutes, and already she's making advances to me.
There you go, my amigos. And while you're thinking it through, let me tell you a little bit about Oxford and Vaughan. ¿Qué tiene que ver la Universidad de Oxford con Vaughan? Pues muchísimo. Es una alegría anunciar que Vaughan ha sido certificado como centro examinador de Oxford Test of English. A partir del próximo mes de marzo 2023, podrás hacer los exámenes de Oxford Test of English en los centros de Vaughan. Si quieres más información sobre esta iniciativa de Vaughan y Oxford, puedes ver más en nuestra página web, grupovaughan.com. O bien síguenos en redes sociales para más información. Oxford Test of English con Vaughan.
Brilliant!
That's right, amigos. It's the Oxford Test of English. You can find out more information about that and many other things over at our website, which is grupovaughan.com. I know I say it a lot, but just remember, this radio, nothing in life. I'm going to say what my dad always says. When you're like, it's free. Vaughan Radio's free. Is it? Really? Right. So you get what I'm saying? So from time to time, I'm not saying you need to send us checks, mandar talones. No, but I am saying if you're into English, well, we've got materials, we've got courses, and what better place to, entrust your English than with us who, well, you learn with us every day. You know that you are in great hands. All right. Well, let's look at today's homophones. A nice round of applause to everybody who's participating. Wonderful job, man. How is it possible to be on the ball on a Monday, a Tuesday? It doesn't matter what day of the week it is. You guys are on the ball. But let's see if you got it right or not. The first word is deambular. To walk around without any particular destination, right? I love doing this, right? And there's an expression we say, not all who are lost. No todos los que deambulemos estamos perdidos. I love that one. So another way to say is to stroll. Another way, as I said before, to walk around aimlessly. And aim es un objetivo. So if you're walking around aimlessly, No hay objetivo. But do we always need a name? That's my question. That's why I love doing this stuff. Also, we say roam. Roam. An easy way to remember that one is roaming on your telephone. But also, if you remember the expression, I love to roam around Rome. And honestly, I do. I love to roam. I haven't done it in a long time. I'm dying to roam around Rome. All right? And also, we can mean it in the figurative sense. Like when you're talking about something and then you don't stay focused, you go off on a tangent. Hello, yours truly. Well, you stay focused for 2 hours. Yeah, well, you do. You guys do. And you do it well. So, all right. Well, that first word is pronounced wander. Wander. He likes to wander around the park. Wander. Wan. On. It sounds exactly like his feet are on the table. Wander. On. Wander. On. Onder. Wander. Onder. Right? So on. Si sabes la preposición O-N, suena eso. Aunque es una A. It's not wander. It's wander. O sea, en tu cabeza tienes que ver O-N, aunque no es O-N, eso es otra palabra, la segunda. So let's say it together. He likes to wander around the park. He likes to wander. I like to let my mind wander. There's the figurative sense I was telling you about. Let your mind wander. That means think about all different things that could come up. I like to let my mind wander. And preguntarse, that one is wonder. Wonder. Ahora, esto suena como one. 1, 2, 3. O sea, si tú sabes pronunciar, there is one shoe on the table. Well, el one y el on son los sonidos vocales, right? The first one is wonder. No, perdona, no voy a ir en orden. The first one is wander, on. He's on, es la A esa. Aunque es la O. ¿Ves como? So wander. No, es la A en español. So wander. See, I'm getting mixed up too. Although I would never get mixed up just saying them separately. But as I'm repeating them over and over, I'm like, which one am I saying? So, wow, guys, I'm starting to wander. But the other word is pronounced wonder. So think of this sentence. I wonder, me pregunto, and we use that word a lot. I wonder if he likes to wander, or maybe he just likes to roam around Rome. Well, excellent job to everybody who got it. Oh, yeah. Excellent job, amigos. All right, well, let's keep things moving. We've got so much to do, so let's get into our Spelling Bee.
Spelling Bee. Spelling Bee. Spelling Bee. Spelling Bee. Spelling Bee.
That's right, amigos. It's our Spelling Bee only on the show with no name. And this is where I give you some information, right? You say datos. I give you some information. Sometimes it's names. Sometimes it's places. Today, it's a mix of different things. Okay, you've got a few different things. Let's capitalize everything. Vamos a hacer todo en mayúscula. Why? Well, I think it makes things easier, right? Because they don't all have to be capitalized. But yes, let's capitalize the first word, the first letter of every word. And what else? There's a date in there. Ya os voy avisando. I will forewarn you. To forewarn is to avisar, prevenir, that there is a date in there as well. So good luck, amigos. As you know, the Spelling Bee is probably one of the most challenging sections on the show. So good luck in round one. The first word is W-A-R-S-A-W space U-P-R-I-S-I-N-G. The second one is P-O-W-S-T-A-N-I-E space W-A-R-S-C. Excuse me, I got to go back. I'll start there. W-A-R-S-Z-A-W-S-K-I-E. O sea, hasta yo me equivoco. Hey, to err is human. The next one, W-A-R-S-C-H-A-U-E-R space A-U-F-S-T-A-N-D. The fourth one is A-R-M-I-A space K-R-A-J-O-W-A. The fifth one, R-E-D space A-R-M-Y. And the last one is a date. It's August 1st, 1944. There you go, my amigos. Get down. Come on, man. Get down here in the trenches. Trincheras, ¿te suena la palabra? Come on, we're here in the trenches. Get it? Man, you're going to get hit. Bullets are ricocheting everywhere. Seguro que es una palabra francesa, eh? To ricochet. Right? To bounce off something. It's called to ricochet. All right, guys. Let's see if anybody gets it on the first go. Going once. Going twice. Anybody? All right. Well, let's do it, folks. We're going to get into round 2 of today's spelling bee. Obviously, it has something to do with war, right? All right, that's obvious. That's a given, we say. That's a given, dado. Es obvio, right? Es evidente. We can also say that's evident. It's not as common, but we do use it. All right, here we go with round 2. The first one is W-A-R-S-A-W space U-P-R-I-S-I-N-G. The next one is P-O-W-S-T-A-N-I-E space, esta es la que me costó, W-A-R-S-Z. Difícil decir esas juntas. So empiezo. W-A-R-S-Z-A-W-S-K-I-E. The next one is W-A-R-S-C-H-A-U-E-R. The fourth one is A-R-M-I-A space K-R-J-O-W-A. The fifth one is R-E-D space A-R-M-Y. And the last one is August 1st, 1944. All right, my warriors, my soldiers, my English soldiers. I see some people are getting it now on the second go. A nice round of applause. Awesome job, amigos. You were in the trenches, but it paid off. Dio sus frutos. Man, I couldn't imagine myself at war. Right? We don't say in war, si os fijasteis, dije at war. Well, I think I told you guys the story. Did I tell you? I was drafted by the Spanish military. Yeah. I was born in 1977. So before that, there was a draft. I think it wasn't, I think it was mandatory, obligatorio. And I remember getting a letter from the Spanish consulate, or I don't remember, some royal institution here in Spain, and I was in college. Yo estaba en universidad. And they said, congratulations, you have been chosen to fight on the, for the Spanish army. And I said, what? I don't even want to fight for the American one. And I was like, I'm not a fighter. I'm a hippie. I'm more of like a, make love, not war kind of thing. Mira, make and do. You do a person, you make love. Hey, hay que saber estas cosas, right? So the good news is, my parents were like, what? And they made some phone calls, and basically all I had to do was prove that I was attending school. Que yo estaba inscrito en universidad. And I remember though, I had to take the day off school and I had to go to the consulate, the Spanish consulate, consulado, in New York City and bring my report card. I literally had to say, look, these are my grades. And I remember the woman saying, hey, nice grades. I said, yeah, see why I can't go to war? Plus, I'm not into that stuff, man. I couldn't hurt a fly. The expression, I can't hurt a fly, is, no es una persona que tiene mucho peligro, right? All right, well, if you didn't figure it out, this was the Warsaw Uprising. You say Varsovia, if I'm not mistaken. We call it Warsaw, which is interesting. It has the word war in it, guerra, but also sierra. It's a war saw. Is that a normal saw? No, it's not a normal saw. I use this one when I go into battle. Oh, so it's a war saw. And uprising. Any Muse fans in the house? There's a song called Uprising, and an uprising is alzamiento, levantamiento, and uprising. So the Warsaw Uprising. In German, in Polish, it's called the Powstanie Warszawskie. Now, I don't know if I pronounced that right, but that was the one that was difficult to spell. Warszawski. The third one is the German way they call it. So in English, it's called the Warsaw Uprising. In Polish, que cuidado, Polish, polaco, polish, darle brillo a algo. Se escriben igual. It's Powstanie Warszawski. In German, Warschauer Aufstand is how they would call it in German. The fourth one was the Armia Krajowa. I think even if you don't know Polish, that is the home army, the Polish army. And they were involved in this, of course. Then you had the Red Army, which was the Soviet Union army. And August 1st, 1944 is when it started, right? And today, on this date, in 1944, is when it was ended, right? And this was one of the most famous battles in the Second World War, or World War II, which was full of epic and very notable battles. As I said, I don't know too much about this, but the good thing is, coming up soon on FYI, I'm going to be having Richard Vaughn to talk about American history. So we're going to learn so much. But folks, I can't believe it. We have to go to a commercial break. But you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to give you today's double trouble before we head out.
Double trouble, baby. Yeah, you know what time it is.
Give it up. Yeah, yeah.
Double trouble. I said double trouble. Double trouble. I said double trouble.
That's right, amigos. It's double trouble only on the show with no name. And this one's going to be tough. I think the first part is going to be easy, but I think the second part is not going to be as easy. But I know you guys, and I think someone is going to figure it out. And I'll tell you what, let me give you a little clue. You know, I love to give you audio clues, right? Well, there you go. So, here it is. Él se cree la bomba. Right? Él se cree la bomba, pero fue en línea directa o sin dudar a la puerta. No se desvió. ¡Shoo! Como sin pensarlo. ¿Ok? Él se cree que es la bomba, la leche, pero se fue en línea directa o sin dudar, hacia la puerta. And there's a little clue to help you out. You know, I love helping you whenever I can, amigos. But right now, I can't believe it. We've got to go to a quick commercial break. I'm going to see if I can get rid of this problem over here. I don't want to get stung. No quiero que me piquen. We'll take a look at that double trouble and so much more when we come back, amigos. We've got Name That Movie. We've got Say What, famous birthdays, Name That Lyric. Man, we really do have a lot of stuff to cover on today's show. So much to do, so little time. But we're going to make every second count, amigos. We'll be right back with tons more. So, stick around. Hey, amigos, welcome back. Welcome back to part 3. I can't believe it. Part 3 of today's show with no name. We've got so much to do in the second half of today's show. Plus, I've got a special surprise for you. A surprise I think you guys are going to love. But I can't let the cat out of the bag. Not yet. No way. Welcome back, folks. Welcome back. I see we've got a lot of people participating in our Double Trouble section. Great job. I see some that look right even, so wonderful. Also, I don't see too many people participating in the Say What soundbite. I know, I get it. The guy speaks a mile a minute. A lot of native speakers do. Especially when they're trying to be funny. ¿Te da una pista? Maybe that was a little clue. All right, amigos. Come on in. As we take a look at today's Double Trouble. I gave it to you right before the commercial break, and it was Él se cree que es la bomba. pero fue en línea directa, sin duda, directamente a la puerta. Yeah. All right, well, I gave you a clue before, and that clue was bees, right? We heard bees buzzing. Zzz. So hopefully that helped you out. And the translation was as follows. He thinks he's the bee's knees. He thinks he's the bee's knees. Yeah, las rodillas de la abeja. Mira, por fin no digo oveja. Took me a while to separate those two over there. So he thinks he's the bee's knees. ¿Se cree? Que viene de the business. Oh, man, you're the business. Y luego se convirtió the bee's knees. So he thinks he's the bee's knees. But he made a beeline for the door. And you know why they call it a beeline? Because bees fly in a straight line, or as we say, as the crow flies. So to go directly to one point without getting distracted, right? A to B, and quickly usually, is to make a beeline for someplace. So when I said that the course was going to cost money, half of the students made a beeline for the door. Se fueron directamente a la puerta. And if you didn't know this, well, shame on you, because I explained this in the FYI episode on bees. These black and yellow social insects swoop, swarm, and sting as they hover around their hive, which is both their home and hangout. But be careful, because you might get stung. We'll babble on about bees on this week's episode of FYI. All right, amigos, if you haven't listened to it, I can share a link with you right now. Give me 1 second. I've got it for your convenience. But either way, you know what you guys should be doing? You guys should, without a doubt, be following the show. So if you're not doing that, go to wherever you listen to podcasts and hit follow. Well, either way, most of you got it. So excellent job on today's Double Trouble. Oh, yeah. All right, what else have we got to do? Oh, we've got to listen to our Say What soundbite. Everybody pay close attention and write down what you hear.
Well, that covers a lot of ground. Say, you cover a lot of ground yourself. You better beat it. I hear they're going to tear you down and put up an office building where you're standing. You know, you haven't stopped talking since I came here. You must have been vaccinated with a phonograph needle. How do you like that? I haven't been on the job 5 minutes, and already she's making advances to me.
All right, there you go, amigos. And I'm going to give it to you one more time. You'll have a total of 4 listens, as always. Here we go.
Well, that covers a lot of ground. Say, you cover a lot of ground yourself. You better beat it. I hear they're going to tear you down and put up an office building where you're standing. You know, you haven't stopped talking since I came here. You must have been vaccinated with a phonograph needle. How do you like that? I haven't been on the job 5 minutes, and already she's making advances to me.
All right, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. It sounds like something from a sitcom or a movie. Name that movie. That's right, amigos. It's Name That Movie, only on the Show with No Name. And this is where you learn English the same way we do, from pop culture. That's right, from the big screen. Here's your synopsis, amigos. Let's give you a little background. You know, I like to set the scene here. Okay, here we go. Barry B. Benson, a bee just graduated from college, is disillusioned at his lone career choice, making honey. On a special trip outside the hive, Barry's life is saved by Vanessa, a florist in New York City As their relationship blossoms, he discovers humans actually eat honey and subsequently decides to sue them. Whoa, sounds like there's a lot going on. So Barry B. Benson, the character, a B just graduated from college. So he's a graduate. He's disillusioned at his lone, solitario, career choice, making honey, hacer miel. On a special trip, un viaje fuera, outside of the hive, and a hive is where the bees hang out. La colmena, I think you say. Either way, it's all in the bees episode. Well, Barry's life is saved by Vanessa. She saves his life. And she's a florist in New York City, a florist, somebody who deals with flowers or sells flowers. As their relationship blossoms, florece, nunca mejor dicho, he discovers humans actually eat honey, and he subsequently decides to sue them. All right, a nice round of applause to everybody who figured it out. It's B-movie. That's right. Which, do you guys get the play on words? ¿Pillas el juego de palabras? Well, B-movie means it's a movie about a bee or bees. And B-movie es una película más independiente. No es como de primera, no de Hollywood. So a B-movie, you get the, I love it. It's a great thing. It's brilliant. It came out in the year 2007. And it stars Jerry Seinfeld, Renee Zellweger, Matthew Broderick, and Sting is even in it. I think that's kind of funny, don't you? Sting is in the movie. B-movie. What does a bee do? They sting. You can't script that. Float like a butterfly, sting like a bee. All right, well, let's take a look at the scene from this movie, which is definitely a classic comedy, a modern classic. And the way it came about, Jerry Seinfeld was having lunch with Steven Spielberg. Wow, what a cool lunch. And he mentioned the idea as a joke. But Steven Spielberg was like, wait a second, say that again? What, a movie about it? Wait a second. You got my attention now. And at first they were talking about making it a live action movie. But then they said, well, it would be funnier as a cartoon. And they were right. I think that was the right choice there. And what else? Oh, more winks, más guiños over here. There's a bear that shows up, and that bear is Vincent. Vincent is the name of the bear, who is from the DreamWorks movie Over the Edge. So the same way Pixar does, they like to put their characters in different cameos. You say cameo, we say cameo. And Over the Hedge, well, you get the play on words there? So over the edge, se te ha ido la pinza. You went over the edge, no? Por el borde. But over the hedge, well, a hedge is another way of saying a bush. And if you didn't know that, then you haven't listened to the gardening episode of FYI. Remember, there are over 250 episodes available as we speak. So, my amigos, let's take a look at the scene from B-Movie. Barry says, I see you also made Honeyburton and Hanron. And Klaus says, yes, they provide beekeepers for our farms. Okay. And here they're talking about companies. Honeyburton is Halliburton, a big company that makes money off war. And Hanron is Enron, a company that was manipulating stocks. So they're playing with company names, known infamous companies. And then Klaus van der Heyden says, yes, they provide beekeepers for our farms. And a beekeeper, somebody who gets honey, the people who take care of bees. And Barry says, beekeeper, apicultor, I think you say. Beekeeper, I find that a very disturbing term, if I have to say. Es ofensivo para mí, ¿no? Me molesta. I don't imagine you employ any bee freers, do you? O sea, no gente que guarda las avispas, sino los que lo liberan, right? So do you employ bee freers? No existen, right? And Klaus says, no. And Barry says, I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you. And he says, no. And Barry says, no, because you don't free bees? You keep bees? And then there's a bear-shaped jar of honey. So, con forma de, a bear-shaped jar of honey. And you see it there. And Barry says, in fact, de hecho, it seems you thought a bear would be an appropriate image for a jar of honey. And Klaus says, well, they're lovable creatures. Son para quererlos. Yogi Bear, hey boo boo. Fozzie Bear from the Muppets, Los Teleñecos. Build-A-Bear. And Barry says, yeah, you mean like this? And he holds up a bear in the courtroom, in el juicio. And Barry says, bears kill bees. How'd you like his head crashing through your living room, biting into your couch, spitting out your throw pillows? And a throw pillow son estos cojines, porque se lanzan, right, en el sofá. Throw pillows. Roar, roar. That's enough. Take him away. Sácalo de aquí. Take him away. So there you go, folks. It's Name That Movie. Great job. And now it's time for Famous Birthday Trivia. That's right, amigos. Famous birthdays only on the show with no name. And let's see what we've got for today's famous birthdays. The first person was born in 1951. His real name, this is for you big fans, you'll know it then, Gordon Matthew Thomas Sumner. That's his real name. And he's well known by his stage name. He's English. What else? He was the singer, songwriter, and bassist for the new wave band, The Police, from 1977 until they broke up in 1986. But he's kind of used all kinds of music. He's really experimented in breaking down the boundaries of genres. And he's even done new age, reggae, world beat. I mean, the guy's great. And we know so many songs. Every breath you take, which is about a stalker, by the way. But then, Roxanne, you don't have to put on a red light. Message in a Bottle. I mean, just one song after another. As a solo artist and also with The Police. So just amazing. Oh, and he's collaborated with other artists on Money for Nothing, you know, Dire Straits, All for Love with Bryan Adams and Rod Stewart, and so much more. Number 2, this guy was singing Bye Bye Miss American Pie, drove my Chevy to the levee, but the levee was dry. This is an American singer, songwriter, and guitarist, known as the American Troubadour, the King of the Trail. And he's got a lot of good songs, but I mean, his most famous one is American Pie, the one I was just singing. But he's also got Vincent. Hey, we said Vincent before, talking about the bear. Well, this one's about Vincent van Gogh. Wonderful Baby, Crying, Since I Don't Have You. I mean, he's basically an American icon. And last but not least, an American icon, but in the world of comedy. Him and his brothers were an American troupe, a comedic troupe, and he was born today in 1890. And when you think about, like, comedy, especially early comedy, televised comedy, you think of this guy and his brothers. And he used to wear these disguises. Well, for him, it wasn't a disguise. It was his look. But now you can be him for Halloween. All you need is these big glasses, a plastic nose. You know those famous glasses with the nose and the bushy eyebrows? They were modeled after this comedian. All right, we've got some winners. Number 1, Sting. Number 2, Don McLean. And number 3, Groucho Marx from the Marx Brothers. Let's listen to today's Say What soundbite, which is Groucho Marx in Duck Soup, one of their most famous sketches. In English, I don't know what it's called in Spanish, is Duck Soup. And he says the woman's welcoming him. And he's like, just shut up. She talks too much. And he goes, well, that covers a lot of ground. He speaks very quickly, right? Well, that covers a lot of ground. Eso cubre mucho territorio. He goes, say, you cover a lot of ground yourself. Diciéndole, eres gorda, right? Tú también cubres mucho territorio. He said, you'd better beat it. Más te vale largarte. You'd better beat it. I hear they're going to tear you down and put up an office building where you're standing. Oí que te van a derrumbar, que te van a tirar y van a poner un bloque de oficinas donde estás tú. And he goes, you haven't stopped talking since I came here. No has dejado de hablar desde que vine. You must have been vaccinated with a phonograph needle. Now we call it a record player, pero antes era un phonograph. O sea, te han vacunado con una what's the word? Needle. The aguja, is that what you say? The needle, porque está como siempre hablando, siempre hay como algo, right? And it's amplified. He goes, how do you like that? Pues mira, fíjate, how do you like that? I haven't been on the job 5 minutes, and she's already making advances to me. No he estado ni 5 minutos y ya me está tirando los tejos. All right, here he is, the one and only birthday boy, Groucho Marx.
Well, that covers a lot of ground. Say, you cover a lot of ground yourself. You better beat it. I hear they're going to tear you down and put up an office building where you're standing. You haven't stopped talking since I came here. You must have been vaccinated with a phonograph needle. How do you like that? I haven't been on the job 5 minutes, and already she's making advances to me.
All right, folks, and it's time for Name That Lyric.
Hi, hello, Alberto. I think the song is... No? Sorry, bye.
Name that lyric, name that lyric, name that lyric, name that lyric only on the show with no name, the show with no name, the show with no name. Name that lyric only on the show with no name, the show with no name, the show with no name. It's name that lyric only on the show with no name.
That's right, our amigos. As always, you know it. It is time for Name That Lyric, and we've got a special surprise coming up in the fourth part of the show. But first, I'll give you Name That Lyric. We'll take a quick break, and I can let the cat out of the bag. Another way to say it is, I can spill the beans. To spill the beans is también soltar el secreto. All right, let's see. Today's Name That Lyric. Había un chico muy raro. Un chico que estaba perseguido por sus demonios, ¿no? So there was a boy, very strange, enchanted boy. They say he wandered very far. You know the word wander? We looked at it today. Deambuló muy lejos. very far over land and sea, a little shy and sad of eye. So un poco tímido y triste, tristeza en los ojos. But very wise was he, muy listo, muy sabio era. And then one day, a magic day, he passed my way. Vino por mi camino, por donde yo estaba. Though we talked of many things, aunque habláramos de muchas cosas, fools and kings, tontos y reyes. This he said to me, esto es lo que me dijo, the greatest thing you'll ever learn is just to love and be loved in return. Starry, starry night. You know it yet? Starry, starry night. Paint your palette blue and gray. Look out on a summer's day. All right, it is Don McLean, and the song is Vincent. I was gonna do Bye Bye American Pie, but I know that we've done that one before. So from time to time, I like to look at other songs from these artists. But man, that's probably one of the best songs to sing along to. And we were singing Bye Bye Miss American Pie. Drove my Chevy to the levee. The levee is el dique. And I drove my Chevy, es mi Chevrolet. But the levee was dry, pero estaba seco. And good old boys, Americanos de toda la vida. And good old boys were drinking whiskey and rye. Whiskey, you know that one. And rye, centeno. So rye, well, a lot of whiskeys are made with cereal. Some of them are made with rye, R-Y-E, just like the famous novel, The Catcher in the Rye. So there you go. You got the all-American novel, The Catcher in the Rye, and then you've got the all-American song, Miss American. Well, it's actually just called American Pie, but I think everybody calls it Bye Bye Miss American Pie. But we're not going to sing that one today. We're going to take a look at Vincent by the same artist, our birthday boy, Don McLean. And when we come back from this quick commercial break, you are in for a treat. Os espera una sorpresa, a really cool treat that I think all of you are going to love. But first, we've got to take this quick commercial break. And you guys can follow along. Google the lyrics, Vincent, like Vincent van Gogh, because he dedicated the song to him. And the artist is birthday boy, Don McLean.
Starry, starry night.
Hello, 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 amigos. Welcome back. Welcome back. That's right. It is part 4 of today's show with no name. And as I said, I've got a special gift, a treat for my show with no namers. You know, from time to time, I like to give you little bonuses, little exclusive things that you can't find everywhere. And today, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to give you guys the bonus episode of FYI on Amazon. I hope you guys enjoy it as much as I enjoyed preparing the episode for you. This is FYI, and we're going to discover Amazon. Not the Amazon, like the river, but the company Amazon. So I hope you enjoy it and take notes. Hello, and welcome to the bonus episode of today's FYI. Just a quick reminder, if you have not listened to the first episode, always listen to that one first. I mean, I guess it really doesn't matter in the long run, but there is an order. There is a method to my madness, as we say. Let's start off the bonus part with some fun facts. As we said before, he was estranged from his dad, and estranged means separated. They hadn't seen each other. His father split when he was around 1 year old. To split is another way to say to leave. So how does the story end? Did his dad and him have a lovely reunion? No, there's no Hollywood ending here. But they tracked his dad down. And to track down is another way to say to find. Think about it. When you order something, a package on Amazon, for example, there's a tracking number. And you can track the package or track it down. And somebody tracked down his biological father to Arizona. He owned a bike shop. I even read somewhere that he was a circus performer. And he used to ride a unicycle. Well, either way, the guy was into bikes. And when he was tracked down, the guy who tracked him down, he said, "Do you know who Jeff Bezos is?" And he said, "No, I've never heard of him. Never heard that name before in my life." And, he started to let him know, well, Jeff Bezos is one of the richest guys in the world. He's the CEO of Amazon. Not now, but at that time. And the guy was in shock. He couldn't believe he was the father of this rich, famous dude. And then he asked, "Is Jeff still alive?" Just to show you how confused he was about everything. I mean, he didn't remember who his son was until the person who tracked him down gave him a few backstories from when his son was a little kid. And he reminded him of the mother's name and all that jazz. And he basically forgot he existed. I don't think Jeff Bezos forgot about his biological father. No matter how hard he tried, he's always going to have that void. I think you say vacío, that empty feeling, that void where something is missing. But this guy didn't seem too interested in having a kid, at least when he was 18, because he did admit later on in life that he wasn't a good father or a good husband. Well, sure, that's easy now that your son is a bazillionaire. Okay, I just made up that word. But a lot of times when we want to say an astronomical number, we don't say a billionaire, we say a bazillionaire. There's a famous scene from Austin Powers where Dr. Evil, who kind of looks like Jeff Bezos, well, he's making up these astronomical numbers.
Gentlemen, in a matter of hours, a meteor will crash into Earth, causing a global flood. That is, of course, unless you pay me 1 billion, gajillion, fifillion, million.
So that story did not have a happy ending. Oh, and this man, Jorgensen, he passed away a couple years ago. So that's the end of that story. They didn't live happily ever after. Because if we say, and they lived happily ever after, I think it means y comieron perdices in Spanish. Everybody was happy, and there was a wedding, and, the typical Hollywood ending. Speaking of Hollywood, did you guys know Jeff Bezos is an actor? All right, I'm using air quotes in the studio right now. Well, a background actor, or an extra, as you can say. He had a cameo role in the movie Star Trek Beyond. And I'll send a shout out to David, one of my students who is a Trekkie. He plays an alien. It's in the 2016 movie Star Trek Beyond. It's a reboot, and he made quite an impression on the set. Chris Pine, the actor Chris Pine, was pretty impressed. He even said that Jeff arrived on set with 3 limos. Limo is another way to say limousine. And he was accompanied by 9 bodyguards. Now, Jeff, I know you're a little guy, but 9 bodyguards? Maybe he really is Dr. Evil. So there's a good trivia question. What movie was Jeff Bezos in? And the answer is Star Trek Beyond. Also, speaking of Hollywood, in February 2020, Bezos broke a California record when he bought the Warner estate. Now, you probably know Warner from Warner Brothers. Does that ring a bell? Well, he bought the estate. The estate is the mansion, la finca, I think maybe you would say, or el patrimonio. But it didn't belong to the Warners at that point. It belonged to David Geffen, the music mogul David Geffen. Hey, we could do an episode on him as well. He's quite interesting and controversial. Well, he bought this mansion for $165 million. Now, what's the record? Well, it was the most expensive home sale in California's history. The estate was built by the Warner Brothers. Well, not all of them, but by Jack Warner in 1937. It's got a huge property, 8 bedrooms. It is gorgeous. And it's in California, baby. So make no mistake about it, Jeff Bezos loves being in the spotlight. He loves the attention. Now, I'm not a psychiatrist here, but maybe this is him missing his biological father's attention, so he's trying to get it from everyone else. Okay, all right. Maybe I overstepped there. I also told you that he worked at Mickey D's. Yeah, we say McDonald's. It's weird. You say Mardon. Well, in Almeria, they say Mardonar, which is totally, totally weird. But we say at least in my area of the United States, we say McDonald's. So yeah, McDonald's or Mickey D's. He worked there one summer. Hey, we have all had odd jobs, but man, it must have been dreadful. Well, he thought so. That's why he only lasted one summer. After that, he started out something called the Dream Institute with his former girlfriend. Now, this was a summer camp for kids. So as you can see, he's always been business-minded. As soon as he quit McDonald's, he said, wait, I can't do this. I can't do this mechanical work. I can't work for somebody else. I've got to do it my way. You know I have to sing in every episode. Now, here's another interesting story which has an ironic twist at the end. Amazon held its meetings, remember in English we say to hold a meeting, convocar, at Barnes & Noble. Now, I don't know if you're familiar with Barnes & Noble, but Barnes & Noble was a huge bookseller. Now, they had an online presence, but they were big physical locations. There was one right next to my college. I remember going there all the time to buy books. I mean, Barnes & Noble was everything. They were huge, so huge that Jeff and Mackenzie and their first employee, Shell Kappen, they held meetings there at their local Barnes & Noble. Now, I know what you're thinking here. You're saying, but where's the irony? Where's that twist you were talking about? Well, in 1997, Barnes & Noble sued Amazon. They took them to court Barnes & Noble refused to accept Amazon's claim of being the Earth's biggest bookstore. Now, eventually, it was settled out of court, and Amazon was able to call themselves the Earth's biggest bookstore. But it doesn't end there. Everybody all around the world has bought books and many other things at Amazon. Many people from this generation don't even know what Barnes & Noble is. Now, I say is because the company still exists, but they are hanging on by a thread. They've closed over 100 stores in the last 15 years. So it's like, hey, thanks for letting us use your reading area to have our meetings, and now we're going to take over your business. And he's not only done that with that business, he has taken over businesses everywhere. And what do I mean by taken over? Well, as I said before, he's got a huge checkbook. So he's constantly buying and acquiring companies. I mean, it's no secret that they have been accused of unfair practices, of putting competitors out of business. Here, let me give you an example of how it works. So Amazon sees that there's a product that is a huge seller. Let's say thingamabobs. A thingamabob is una cosa inventada. A thingamabob or a thingamajiggy. And they realize that they're selling tons of them. So what Amazon will do is they will create their own thingamabob, their own version of this thingamajiggy, and they'll make it cheaper, and even more importantly, they'll put it higher up in the search results. And believe me, Amazon doesn't mind taking a loss from time to time. That's part of their strategy, it seems. But what happens here? Well, two things can happen. Either they put them out of business right away, or the other company, they catch on, they realize, and they bring their price down. But guess what? Amazon is ready to bring theirs down even lower. So some would say that these are unfair business practices. And let's be honest, a lot of these businesses depend on Amazon to sell their products. If they can't sell them on Amazon, where are they going? So I guess you could say they've got a lot of these companies by the cojones, as you say in Spanish. Oh, and by the way, that's a word we all know in English. We just don't pronounce it like you. We say cojones. We'll take a look at some more controversial stuff a little bit later on. I want to tell you now about a near-death experience that Jeff Bezos had while he was on a helicopter. He was with his attorney. Attorney is another way of saying lawyer. He was with a guide and a pilot, and it was a very serious helicopter crash. Another way to say helicopter is chopper. As I always say, if you want to know why we call it a chopper, just put your head up there by the blades and you'll see why. No, I'm just kidding. Don't do that. But just think of the sound. They were in West Texas, and some strong wind, blew the helicopter off course. The helicopter, or chopper, as I told you, landed upside down in a creek. A creek is like a small little river, and it started to fill up with water and fast. Most of them escaped the wreck with only minor injuries. However, Jeff's attorney, Elizabeth Carell, suffered a broken vertebra from the accident, and I imagine they were all traumatized. Jeff Bezos has sworn off helicopters. To swear something off means I don't want to ever see them again. I've got to be honest. You guys know I'm an av geek. I love planes. I love everything that flies. I even love drones, especially if they're delivering a pizza or some stuff from Amazon. But helicopters, I've only been on a helicopter once, and that was enough to scare the bejesus out of me. And to scare the bejesus out of me, I imagine you can guess from context, means to scare the crap out of me. I'll stick with the planes. I think they're a bit sturdier. And if something is sturdy, it's strong. Now, as I said, we're going to look at some more controversial things, because Amazon has become synonymous with controversy. But there's so much about Amazon and Jeff that we don't hear about. Well, obviously, if you donate tons of money to different media entities, well, they're not going to talk bad about you. And even though they do donate to different charities, and they have their own charities at Amazon, some say they spend a lot more money lobbying media companies than they do on helping children in Africa. And they say that when Jeff donates, he's a bit frugal. That means he's a cheapskate. That means instead of giving $1 million, which is nothing to him, he gives 100,000. Well, he's spending all that money on space exploration. That isn't cheap. And the rest of the money he's spending on cleaning up his image. Here, let me ask you a question. Have you ever heard about his dick pics? Now, excuse my vulgarity here, but I'm trying to prove a point. Do you know what dick pics are? Dick pics are pictures of your penis. Yes. And there are dick pics that Jeff Bezos has shared, and they have gone around the internet, but you don't hear too much about that. Sure, if you're donating to those outlets, they're not going to show those pictures. They're going to bury those stories, as we say. Or did you know that Jeff Bezos had an affair? Now, that's not illegal, but that's not cool. Sure, you might know about it, but if you haven't heard about it, it's because they've buried the story. Did you know that some years Amazon has not paid 1 cent in income tax? Here I am like a sucker paying tons of money, and Jeff and Amazon are paying nothing, zero, zilch. That's not cool at all. But you're not hearing about that, especially in the Washington Post. Why? Well, he owns it. That's right. Why would the Washington Post talk bad about its owner? In 2013, he bought this major American newspaper for $250 million. Now, in his defense, the company wasn't doing so well, and now they're doing better. But still, man, how much power do you want? You've already got a finger in every pie, every industry. You've been to space. And now you want to have your own platform to spread your messages, to spread your propaganda? Or more importantly, to cover up any dirty stories about your past? Any shady things that your company has done, such as not paying taxes? I mean, where's the IRS? Do you know the IRS? The IRS is the Internal Revenue Service. You call it Hacienda. Oh, and he's got contacts, as we said before, in the CIA. He's hosting their websites and doing other things with them, which I'm sure we won't even know about. But he also works with the DOD. Hey, we're seeing a lot of abbreviations today. The DOD. What is the DOD? The DOD is the Department of Defense. He is a chairman at the Pentagon. This guy is not only rich, but he is important. Or at least he works with some of the most important and powerful organizations in the world. So the DOD, the CIA, these are some seriously big contacts. And what is he like as a boss? Horrible. Not demanding. Demanding is good. You want your boss to be a little bit demanding. He is downright rude. Now, I've never met the guy, but as I was researching, I realized that I heard a lot more negative than positive about this guy. He has a tendency to go ballistic, to go ape, to chew people out. They say he can be a real piece of work. He can be real nasty. And he hates unions. Sindicatos. I'm sure you've all heard about Amazon and their air quotes love of unions. No, they hate unions, and they make it very clear. They show the employees slides. They tell them anybody talking about unions should be snitched on. So they encourage you to snitch on your fellow employees, to rat them out, to tell on them. These are 3 different ways to say chivarse. They are even told to look out for people who are whispering, because that means they're up to no good. And they're watching their every move. They are under constant surveillance. It's as if they were in prison at an Amazon warehouse. And I'm sure you've all heard the stories about people passing out in the summer months due to the heat. And you better work fast, man. You better step on it. They say it's like a sweatshop. A sweatshop is like one of these places where they make sneakers, where children work. It's a place with horrible working conditions. Now, again, this is all stuff that I've researched. I've never worked for Amazon. But as you know, they're all about prompt service. Prompt means fast. And if you don't move fast enough, you'll get canned. To get canned is another way of saying to get fired. The average scanning time for Amazon employees, that's when they scan a package, blip, is one item every 11 seconds. I don't know about you, but just thinking about that makes me nervous. Now, if you think about that in an hour, that's 300 items you have to scan per hour. Oh, so don't take any pee breaks. Well, what if I have to go to the bathroom, man? Use a plastic bottle. And I don't know if that's what the company told them, but there are cases of Amazon truck drivers reporting, there are videos that I saw with plastic bottles full of urine, because if they didn't meet their deadline, they were going to be in trouble. So it's not that they're told not to take breaks, but they're told if you don't get there by that time, it's over. I mean, that's inhumane. Let's be honest. Making somebody pee in a plastic bottle, you got to give somebody 5 minutes to go to the bathroom. Oh, and what happens if you get a headache? I mean, if you're scanning 300 items per hour, what happens if you get a headache? Oh, don't worry. They're so kind. They're so nice that they have vending machines filled with free pain medication. That's right. Ibuprofen, acetaminophen, or whatever. Yeah, you heard correctly. That's absolutely insane. So I wouldn't recommend working for Amazon. At least not in their warehouses. I'm not saying there aren't good Amazon jobs. In fact, I know a few people who work for Amazon, and they're very happy in their job. So I guess it's like every company as well. And as I told you in the first part, I've even collaborated with Amazon Audible with This Show is the Milk. Another thing they've been accused of is unsafe products. Well, not so much that they're making unsafe products, but half of all the sales on Amazon are third-party sellers. And Amazon's policy states clearly that third parties are responsible for their goods. What happens? Things get mixed up in the warehouse, and you might get knockoffs. A knockoff is a fake copy of something. So you don't know if the thing you ordered is what you got. If there are 6 of them, let's say you ordered a light bulb, una bombilla. 3 of them are knockoffs. They all go to the same basket in the warehouse, and then when your order comes in and they process it, they grab the first one. So it's very difficult to take care of quality control, and that can lead to unsafe products. And did you ask yourself the same question I asked myself? Does Amazon have a monopoly? I mean, they have their own ecosystem. Alexa connected to Prime, which is provided by AWS, Amazon Web Services, where you just ordered a new barbecue that they're going to deliver tomorrow. I mean, it sounds like a monopoly. How do they pull it off then? Well, let me remind you, at the beginning of the episode, I said they're the everything store. So like Pepsi, what do? They do soft drinks. That's their business. Apple, what do? Electronics. That's their business. Amazon, what do? Everything. That's their business. And according to what I read, they don't violate any antitrust laws. Translation: the customers are very happy, but the competitors aren't, naturally. And what really rubs me the wrong way is how they get these huge tax breaks. I mean, is this even legal? I'm sure they know a lot of loopholes, but something has to be done to make these guys pay taxes just like everybody else. And we'll wrap up with something positive. Amazon to a customer means convenience. It means options. It means prompt service. It means excellent customer service. Correct me if I'm wrong, but Amazon does all this stuff. They give us, the customers, what we want and when we want it, which is as soon as possible. Well, that's the world we live in right now, it seems. We're moving at light speed, but it makes sense because the company's mission statement is to be the most customer-centric company. So anytime Jeff or anybody at Amazon has to make a decision, they have to think about what's best for the customer. And all these things are great from a customer standpoint. But I'll leave you with this question. At what cost? Does that mean I'm going to cancel my Prime subscription? I doubt I will, but I'm also going to go out there and continue to support all those mom and pop shops, those local businesses, those family businesses. We wouldn't want them to disappear. So thank you so much for joining us on this week's episode of FYI.